everyone. My name is Bianca from the Ukrainian Actors and Actresses fandom. In today's episode of Vertical Voices, I have an actor, and I guess you all seen him already in one or another vertical. And I can say hello to Australia and hello, Anthony Darvall.
Hello, Bianca. Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching.
I'm so happy that we could manage this. And actually, Anthony and myself, we just met a few days ago for the first time
Hmm.
at the Short Drama Forum of the first quarter, and we both been speakers in there. We been kind of spontaneous, and we said, let's talk. But Anthony, maybe you introduce yourself, who you are, and what you are doing.
Hello, everyone. My name's Anthony. I'm a British Australian actor. I'm currently in Sydney, and I've been an actor for it's it's been too long at this point, maybe. But I've worked in theatre, films, verticals, as some of you may have seen, and I'm very excited to be sitting here chatting with Bianca all the way from Germany.
And that's crazy in this community that we are all spread all over the world and still are connected. And that's amazing. That's really amazing. But why did I invited you? Not just because of your acting in the verticals we've seen already, but you have something in common with Ukraine. But
Yes.
let's start on the begin. How did you get into the vertical space?
Regarding verticals in Sydney, they started in the middle of 2023. Yeah, 2023. I had to double check myself there for a second. And I don't know if you have this website in Germany and wherever anyone else may be watching, but it was posted on a website called Star Now for Americans. That would be Backstage for British people, Mandy. They're all owned by the same company. And it's just like a forum where people post creative jobs. And I saw a listing for, I forget what the title was called, and I auditioned for it. It was the first vertical filming in Australia. I didn't get it. But then the same team, about a month later, started producing another one. And I auditioned for that and ended up with a supporting role in that, which was very, very interesting. I'd never done, I was familiar with what soap operas were like in terms of filming, but I'd never been on a soap opera set as an actor, only as an extra through my drama school days, just to help get me a little bit of extra cash, home and away for anyone who's wondering. Not that you would ever notice me, but I understood the sort of logistics of it. I saw that we had it was maybe 11 days and we had about 150 pages, so a lot of content to get through in a very short amount of time. I just sort of took it under my wing, and it was great for me actually because it was a supporting role, not the lead. I would film a scene, go and sit in the green room with the rest of the actors and chill for a couple of hours, go and film the next scene, then go home, come back, do three scenes, do two scenes. It was great, but then it just sort of slowly snowballed from there. And 2025 was a big year for me. I'd done the occasional small part. Actually, that's not true. In 2024, I did a couple of lead roles. These were in the very early days of verticals, back when they were much lower in budget, and everyone was just sort of trying to figure out what this new medium was. I haven't seen those ones. I think they're out there somewhere, and some people have told me that they watched them, but I can't remember them, so I can't tell you whether they're good or not. But in the beginning of 2025, I was lucky enough to be cast in Vampire's Forbidden Kiss, which was one of my more well-known verticals, and a lot of fun for me creatively, and sort of opened my eyes to what the possibilities of this medium could be. It was such a creatively satisfying project for me to be involved in. And then shortly after, I shot another couple and verticals, and then made my way over to China for the first time, and got to work with some very talented people from all over the world in China, which was wonderful. Came back and shot a few more, went back to China, shot another one, came back, and then was lucky enough to work with AMO Pictures here in Australia on.
That's the reason why I invited him. But going back to a Vampire's Forbidden Kiss, I just recently told Anthony I didn't like him after this movie. I couldn't explain it. It was on the beginning, and I really thought it's older than from 2025. I thought it's maybe early 2024. I'm not sure, but I didn't like you there. But I apologized because this changed. But it was just a character. And on the beginning, nowadays I would say if I don't like a character in one of these verticals, it's a compliment because it shows me that the actor is doing such a great job. But at this time, I didn't like you. No,
Fair
but
enough. He was a tough character to like that one.
no, but you said you are working for AMO, and it's what is the other production company from Australia? It's
So there's a couple. There was Johnny Films, which I did two projects with last year. Then there was Hero Film Studio, which I did Vampire's Forbidden Kiss with. Hero's Journey Films or Studios.
No, I actually meant AMO Pictures is sharing the production with another
Oh,
production company in Australia.
um,
I forgot the name. I guess it's with S.
I'm not sure about S. I know that the director had his own label, which was Exotic Milk Studio. That was Gabriel Robinson. But yeah, you mentioned another production that AMO Pictures did down here, which I wasn't aware of. I was only aware of the one that I shot.
She is
Yeah,
his mission. She is
yes,
his mission as the first article where AMO Pictures been involved. And if you give me a second, I can tell you which production company from Australia been involved. Let me scroll because there are so many new verticals. There we go. It was Screencraft Media. Screencraft Media was involved in that.
sounds
And
good.
the
Okay.
actors in Bridget Davy, Rocco Forrester, Michael Shanahan, Chris Combs, Jim Punnett, and so on.
I'm not familiar with Screencraft at all. Perhaps they're based in Melbourne because perhaps they're based in Melbourne. I'm not too sure, but I haven't. Oh, Sydney. Oh, there you go. Oh well, you learn something new every day.
No, but I like that AMO Pictures is bringing their craft and their experience to the world and not just shooting them in Ukraine. Because I don't want to always say everything what Ukraine is doing is always the best. But in this case, I hear it from so many creatives out of the world that what Ukraine is doing is on the top.
Top tier, I've heard. And I mean, the one that I did with them was fantastic as well. It was very ambitious. It was a lot of
It's
fun
for
to
my drama or for which app?
I'm not sure actually. I'll find out when it's released. I spoke to the director not too long ago, and it's still in post-production. So we only filmed at the very end of November.
If you may give out some information about the cast and maybe some crew members, just
Sure,
give it to
sure.
me.
Of course.
Because I will make real, like I'm always introducing new verticals to my followers, who's acting in these new verticals, with including their role names. And if I have some infos about the director or showrunner, etc., I will publish their pictures as well, so they get to be seen as well. And
Sure.
I can't wait to see that. And I know AMO Picture is not just shooting in Ukraine and Australia, they also shooting in UK, USA, and Canada.
Oh, there you go. Wow. They got their fingers in many pies.
They are good in that, and that this gives so much opportunities to the actors and all the crew members to experience this. And for example, in America, the production team with which AMO is working there is TerraVision, for example, TerraVision Production, and the whole crew is Ukrainian as well.
Wow.
I'm not sure how it was on the set for this AMO Picture show. I assume the crew being Australians, right? Or are there some Ukrainians as well?
From memory, it was mostly Australians. I don't recall many Ukrainians there. I think that The director who is British has a strong connection. I think he's British Ukrainian. I'm not too
Yeah.
sure. His name is Gabriel Robinson, if you've heard of him before. I think he's done some work with AMO
No,
Pictures. No? Oh well.
it's
You're
not
gonna have to
familiar
work
yet.
too.
I will get all the infos. No, but I like that. I assume you cannot say anything about story, what it is.
I would say probably best not to. We'll let Ammo do the big reveal for that in due course.
That means we have to stay curious. We females can't deal with that. We have to, how do I say it always? We females are not curious. We just need to know everything.
That's, that's very good. I like that.
No, but how is it for you? Do you want, or first, do you want to shoot somewhere else in the world, for example, in America or Canada or even here in Europe? Because we're starting to shoot, we have here a lot of, not a lot of, but we have now a few countries where they shooting verticals like Istanbul, mostly with drama pops, Lithuania, Italy, UK. And in France, they started shooting. In Germany, they started now for now mostly in German, and they will do it in English as well. And for sure, Ukraine and Poland.
Hmm.
They are shooting there. Would you go to one of these countries as well to shoot there?
Take me everywhere. Absolutely. I am British, so I would love to go back to my mother's homeland and shoot there. But I've auditioned for projects in oh God, so many countries now that I think about it: the UK, Poland, Lithuania, Canada, Turkey, China, Malaysia, Korea, Philippines. But yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I would anywhere, anywhere the work is.
I guess the most problem would be in this case always to get a working visa, right? Well, how is
I'm
it for
not sure,
actors?
I'm not sure what the logistics are with that, but I know that at least for the UK, it's
UK and
super easy
Canada
for me.
wouldn't
Yeah,
be a problem. I guess
no.
Canada is the same like in UK, right? Because
Well, no, Canada, you have to have a specific work visa. Canada's an
okay,
interesting one, actually, because their union projects are quite difficult to get into, but a lot of the verticals are non-union, so you just need a
yeah,
work visa, which I'm in the process of sorting out. Hopefully, I'll be able to go over to Canada soon to shoot.
all these paperworks. Always this difficult paperworks. It's like
Yeah.
everything in life.
And I do have representation in the US as well. Hopefully, at some point in the not too distant future, I'll be able to afford my visa for the US and be able to go over and shoot some projects there.
If you would have the opportunity and you could go to the US and shoot there, would you consider even maybe to move there if you have the chance to get more work over there?
The amount of work over there compared to anywhere in the world is staggering. I'm sort of I'm on because of my representation, I'm on a number of American casting sites, and just the amount of verticals that are shooting there all the time, absolutely. I wouldn't need to be doing any other day jobs just to fill my time and my bank account.
In Ukraine, they're working under special circumstances. The pace is totally the same as everywhere else in the world. And they're shooting those projects between 6 to 10 days,
Hmm.
but it's an active war zone. Would you still consider to go there to shoot there? Because there have been a few actors from abroad, and I can tell you, everyone said they want to go back, and a few of them been there already again.
Wow. Look, just put me in touch with the right people and we'll see. I'd feel a bit nervous if I was the very first actor going over there that wasn't based in the Ukraine, but given that I've heard other people's positive experiences, I'm like, yeah, all right.
For example, I don't know if you know him, Kiki Frex.
I've never met him, but I know people who know him, and
Yeah, but you
some.
know who I'm talking about, right? He been there last year and shot a few projects.
Oh, there you go.
And then we have Pierre Loger from France. He been
Wow,
by now 5 times over there and shot a lot of projects. Uh,
wow.
Robert Holmes, he is British, and He shot there a project, not for AMO Pictures, for another production company, and he moved there.
Wow, good on him. Absolutely. It's sort of the actor's life is where's the work? Where's the work? I'll go wherever the work is. Just tell me
I
where.
can recommend you if you're going on my YouTube channel. There is recently an interview with Pauline Bobrovska. She is a personal and actor's assistant. And this is a special job position at AMO. If there are actors and actresses coming from abroad to shoot there, she's always on their sides.
Oh,
She pick because you can't fly there because the airspace is blocked. So you have,
mm,
for example, to fly to Warsaw in Poland, and from there you have to take a train to get to Kiev.
wow.
It's it's a
That'd be
it's kind of like a longer trip. It's I always say, for example, Pierre Loger told me from the city in France where he lives to get there with all the waiting time for the train and stuff. It took him around 26 hours. And I said, "Hey, that's like I would visit you in Sydney
yeah,
from the
pretty
time
much.
to get there." But you can fly directly to Kiev. It's not possible. Too dangerous. That's why planes are not allowed. And but she's picking you up at the train station, showing you
Mm,
around. If you want to see something in Kiev, she's doing sightseeing with you. She explaining everything, what you have to do in an emergency case, etc. And she's taking care of you on set and so on. She's translating for you, etc. They always have these personal slash actors assistants on the side of
mm,
these actors. And
yes.
they choosing hotels in the center of Kiev where is a shelter in the near or even in the hotel, just in case you can go to the shelter. And all the actors who've been there from abroad, they all said they liked it a lot. Sure,
Yeah,
some days it was very loud and scary, but they felt welcomed there and in good hands.
I have heard good things, and the personal assistant thing. That's like the same thing in China as well, which is lovely. It's nice to be taken care of.
Definitely. Because sometimes you're shooting at the first of all, they can't do as much overnight shootings because in Ukraine you have a curfew.
Oh wow.
Between midnight and 5 a.m., you are not allowed to be outside. And if they
Uh,
have an overnight shooting, they staying in the location where they are shooting.
wow. That makes sense, but yeah. No, I get that. I get that.
That's there are so a few things which are different to other countries,
Hmm.
but at least you don't have as much overtime, over hours to work, because they have to finish it on time so
Hmm. Yeah.
everyone can get back home. And sure, the days are 12 hours, maybe two, but you don't get longer because you have to get home or to the hotel. And I never can promise something, but if you are interested and you have already your foot in the door because you are working already for AMO in Australia, I would forward your information and what they are doing on the end, it's up to them. But I
Of course.
can connect
Brilliant.
and say, hey, there is someone who's interested. Because AMO Pictures is always looking for actors from abroad to join them there and to shoot some projects.
Well, they were fantastic when I worked with them. It was, to be honest, it was a breeze being on set with them. And it was an Australian production company, but I've worked with various different companies, and it was definitely one of the smoothest shoots ever. It's just smooth sailing, no issues, and everyone had an awesome time, which is the most important thing, especially for morale. You want on set to feel like a fun place where everyone can just explore and play and try things, and that they were fantastic in that regard.
And I don't know how it is in Australia, but the licensing and partnership executive of AMO Pictures, Anton Skripetz, he told me once, even if it's low budget, you have to make look at cinematic.
Hmm.
And I think in Ukraine, all the editors doing such a great job in the post-production. to make it look like that because worldwide there are now a few verticals which could be shown easily in a horizontal way. Easily. Because of the
Yeah.
storyline. It's not the typical trope which you see everywhere. It could easily be something for the TV or for the cinema.
They're now starting to shoot. I don't know if you have heard of this, but they're starting to shoot with cameras horizontal and vertically. You'll see on the monitors, like they're normally it's just a couple of these because they're shooting two or three cameras at the same time. But this was actually the first vertical I was on where I got to see them shooting for horizontal and vertical at the very same time. So that was, I hope I'm allowed, I'm sure I'm allowed to say that. Get a
We
Sony
have some
camera.
bad internet connection. You all have a beeping in your ear. You didn't hear anything. Oh, I heard about it because some friends of mine, they watched already, I don't know from which app, some verticals, which actually you started watching it with your phone like this, but actually you could move it and would watch it in horizontal. There is something out already. I didn't seen it yet, but they told me there are some of these out there.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if you were familiar with an app called QB that came out in the year 2000 when everyone was locked down because of COVID. This app was released by this American producer called QB, and it was similar to Verticals, but it was sort of it was still shot mostly horizontal, and the episodes were 10 minutes long. They were still movie length, but they were released the ones that I was watching at least, they were released every day. Every day at 5 p.m. I'd be like, oh, my new show is out. And they had some fun. They had one with Liam Hemsworth and Christoph Waltz, which was brilliant, which you can now find because this app is defunct. It went out of business in like 3 months. I think it was a little bit too
By,
early.
by the way, Christoph Waltz is a very, very nice gentleman. I met him because he was a customer of my company where I used to work. He's
Oh,
how he sounds in the movies, it sounds in real life as well. And this accent from Vienna, it's so charming.
he's just out of this world. He is so unbelievably talented. I am absolutely besotted with him. I love everything that he does. But yeah, anyway, what I was saying about QB is they had this one show on there, which I didn't watch, but I saw them advertising it. It was with the girl from Game of Thrones with the red hair. She played Sansa Stark. I forget her name. But anyway, it was
I don't
this
know.
the really interesting thing about this project. It was this girl who gets lost in the wilderness, and depending on the orientation of your phone, it would switch how the story was playing out. Not how the story was playing out, but what camera you would be seeing it
Ooh,
from. It was like if you had it this way, it was like a cinematic thing, and then if you had it like that, it was like a found footage thing that she was doing on her phone. There's 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 so
that's
many
crazy.
there's so many interesting things you could do with this new digital realm of storytelling that I think are yet to be tapped. It's going to be really interesting to see where the landscape of this whole vertical space goes in the future.
And I think we are still on the beginning with all these verticals. The journey
Yeah.
will go on, and there will come so much more things worldwide regarding verticals. We are
Mhm.
still in the first footsteps. If you remember regarding your first shooting of a vertical and the latest one, do you see there differences by shooting something, or
Oh yeah.
is it still the same?
No, no, not at all. Where do I even start? The overall production quality leaps and bounds ahead of where it was when we first started. It was still sort of very much in its infancy in the Western world, and it took maybe almost another 18 months before Australia had a vertical that really cracked these sort of global discussions within the vertical community, which was I had a small role in actually. It was called The Heiress Blacklisted Her Husband. Always have to take a moment to remember the titles.
It was Alex Pichtin, right?
Alex Picton and a whole bunch of really great Australian actors who I've gotten to work with again and again, and they're all fantastic. Alex Alessia, CJ Harrison,
The
yeah,
whole crew.
Just
The whole
yeah,
crew.
the whole crew. It really was. You sort of pick them all out in a lineup. You're like, oh, this one, this one, this one. Real Short is voting for the next part two. Apparently, there's like a some sort of Real Short competition going on. I found out about today. Anyway, I'll try and learn more. Or perhaps it was an April Fool's joke by Real Short. Who knows?
What was the name?
The heiress blacklisted her husband on Real Short.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that. I saw that. It's from last year, right?
End of
I
2024 was
guess
when it was.
so. This movie have 114 million views. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And I like that. Alex is doing some good movies as well. But to change the subject, recently you, Dan Youngma, Harrison Keen, and some others showed a funny format on your social medias, and I guess you precipitated some competition. I'm not so up to date.
Yeah.
Didn't you won there something?
Yeah, we did. So it was the Young Australian Filmmakers Festival, and this was the first year that they had a vertical dimension to their lineup, and we decided to all take part in it because we were here. And Dan, the wonderful Dan Youngma, came up with this very funny concept that we had. And it was a 48-hour filmmaking challenge. So we had 48 hours from when we got the bits of information we needed to complete the story. We created the script, we shot it and then edited it and submitted it. And we were very lucky that we had so many supportive people behind us because it was a social media driven competition, this one. So we were lucky enough to win that one. And
That
it
was
was
funny.
it was
That
a good
was
bit of
funny.
fun. Yeah.
And I mean, if if vertical actors couldn't do it that quick, who else?
Well, that's
I
a fair
mean,
point.
you were working always with this pace. So if
Look,
vertical actors couldn't do it this quick,
I, I will have to say Dan was a little concerned at one point, and I allayed his concerns a bit because these 48-hour filmmaking festivals, they're not new. They've been around for a long time. I don't know how prevalent they are all over the world, but certainly in Australia. And previously, you would shoot like a 5 minute, a 7 minute short film with the same amount of time. So it was it was because I've done a few of those before before verticals were a thing, and only having to shoot 90 seconds was nice. But the good thing about it was with this, we were able to take a lot more time because we only had 90 seconds of screen time allowed. We were able to do a lot of fun shots, fun cinematography, and play around with things. Whereas with the traditional horizontal short films in the 48-hour filmmaking festivals, you got to write a longer script, you got to shoot more dialogue. So it was stressful in that we needed to get it done, but it was nice to be able to just take our time and go to the lengths that we went to where Jessica Homland and Dan were under the water for multiple shots and different camera angles and things. Yeah.
no, it was great. And I mean, you could see the connection between you guys. It's always funny to see you all together. It's always enjoyable how close you are,
Yeah.
or it seems like you.
Yeah, the the filmmaking scene in Sydney is small. I know if I go to an event or anything like that, I'll know at least three or four people, no matter what it is. But the vertical filmmaking scene in Sydney is even smaller than that. So we're all quite close with each other, and we all have each other's backs and support each other as much as we can.
That's great. That's great. And it's the same kind of like in Ukraine. There are not so many actors. I mean, sure, there are many actors, but which are having always lead roles, for example, and speak
Hmm.
English. And they are all kind of friends. And so they
Yeah.
know each other all the time. So it's not that hard to if you come on set and have to work with someone that you don't know them. Usually they know each other. That's
Cool.
make the whole work a little bit more easy.
Yes. It's good in a way when you go to like my first time in China. I didn't know anyone. Obviously, I was the only Australian on every single set except for one of the projects I did with CJ, where we worked together two times actually in China. But it can be nice, but it does make the work easier if you already have a established sense of rapport and that trust there. Yeah, so it's nice in a small community like that. How are they going over there with their English as well? It's got me excited. You got me excited when you talked about actors in Germany, actors in the Ukraine learning English while they were shooting these verticals. I've actually been working on my Spanish for a little while now. It'd be a nice challenge to be able to do something like a vertical in Spanish, even though I'm not completely confident with my Spanish.
I only can say hola, ¿qué tal? That's all.
I'm not that much far ahead of you, so but I've been working on it. So it would be an interesting challenge. I've got a lot of admiration for people like Viggo Mortensen and Daniel Bruhl and Daniel Day-Lewis who learn new languages specifically for the projects that they're working on. So it'd be an interesting challenge.
I don't know how it is in the acting scene here in Germany, but here in Germany, you are a lot. I'm so long time out of school. I'm so old. But usually, you can choose in school, I guess, between French, Spanish, English, and I guess sometimes they have Turkish as well. But at my time, when I went to school, you could choose between French and English and sometimes Spanish. So we learned it in school. And most people just don't use it as often as they could. That's why they are
Hmm.
a little bit rusty.
Yeah.
But in Ukraine, it's I don't know if they learn it all in school or how it worked, but I can tell you in these English-speaking verticals, there are some actors who don't speak English at all. They just learn the script and they have a native English speaker, a tutor on set who helping them out to
Hmm.
pronounce something correctly or to say something in a correct sentence. But also, I know from AMO Pictures they have an English speaking club, which they have every week where actors who are part of the agency can join and they're getting English lessons as well. And I could see that there are some actors who increase their English skills from, for example, from 2024 until now, and it's great to see.
Yeah. Have you spoken to any about the specific challenges that they had acting in a language that they're not familiar with and what that's like?
See, these questions, I have to remind this if I'm talking to someone who's not that fluently in English, because I found here in my city a young Ukrainian woman who's joining me sometimes in my conversations. If my guests don't speak English or just say, hey, I'm not so comfortable speaking English all the time, then she joins us to translate a little bit. But the funny thing is, I had her with me in the interviews two times. And in both, she didn't have to do much. The actors always said, "Oh, my English is not so good," and mostly I spoke with them the whole time in English. And I mean, with Lee Berlinska, she's amazing. Sure, Alexandra, my translator, had to talk a little bit more to her. But for example, I spoke to Bogdan Nahoni. He is film editor. And he said, "Oh, my English is not so good." So Alexandra joined us and she just translated two words. So the rest of the interview he could do by himself. And that's great to see. And I guess it's like for everyone, if you have to speak in a different language, it's hard.
Mm,
Especially the difference between if it's German or English for Ukrainians, their letters are in Kirill.
yeah.
That's something else. And I mean, to learn German, for example, it's always hard because our pronunciation is very, you pronounce it very hard sometimes and complicated. But I'm so proud of the Ukrainian actors that they could increase their English skills. And
It's
many of them said it's so good to act in those projects because that's a way how I can learn English.
yeah. I don't know, it blew my mind a little bit. But in Vampire's Forbidden Kiss, actually, our lead Tristan, he's a French speaker, and he was doing really well with his English at the time. Like we had no trouble talking, but he said that he was still translating everything in the script in his head
To
into French,
understand it better, yeah.
and then
Yeah,
like
I can
figuring out how to
understand
say it.
it. Yeah, I mean, you need to understand the meaning behind what you guys saying in the script. And if you can do it better in your native language, sure, translate it to understand it better, and then you switch back to English.
Yeah, there's some. I don't know. It's interested me for a while, specifically with people like Viggo Mortensen, who's learned so many languages and a lot of it for the projects that he's doing, because I think there's a lot of presuppositions that are built into specific languages about how you view the world and how you experience the world that you just kind of take for granted unless when you're part of that culture. So diving deep into that. Cillian Murphy is another example. Like he worked really hard on Dutch for Oppenheimer because he wanted to, and he only spoke Dutch in one scene in the film, just because he wanted to understand the man's worldview in a more thorough way. It was remarkable.
Yeah, I always say to learn, well, I don't speak Dutch, but I live close to the Dutch border, to the border to Netherlands, maybe 40, 45 minutes away. But the funny thing is, if they speak slowly, I can understand every word, even if I never learned Dutch, because it's a mix, I would say a mix out of English and German.
All right, I got you. Wow.
So sometimes I used to work in the construction business as an assistant to the project management, and I was responsible for 1,000 to 1,100 employees of our subcontractors. And we had some from the Netherlands, and I wanted to talk to the CEO of the company, so I called them, and he didn't answer his phone, but his secretary. And his secretary didn't speak English, she didn't speak German, but she gave me his cell phone number, and I understood it. Even if she
Wow.
didn't speak my languages, I didn't speak her language, but still I could understand it, and I could manage to call him. I don't know how this happened, but it's happened.
That's very cool. It must be wonderful being able to live in Europe because you have the possibility to be exposed to so many different cultures, in such a short space of area. In Australia, we're very far away from the rest of the world. So
I mean,
yeah,
from the vertical
fascinating.
space, we are far away as well, especially if there's something in America going on, even just the lives on Instagram of these actors, because usually they're doing it at 3 or 4 a.m. my time. And sorry,
Mm,
I need my beauty sleep. And no, but we have it easy here. For example, where I live now, close to Cologne on the west side of Germany, I have Luxembourg close by. I have Netherlands close by. France is not that far away. And before, I'm originally from Berlin, and we had Czech Republic not that far. We had Poland not that far. So it's pretty easy to go everywhere, you know? And even Denmark wasn't so far away. So it's easy going.
yeah, God, amazing, amazing.
And you can do it all by car. You don't,
Yeah.
sure, with a plane it's going faster, but you can do it all by car.
Plus, you get to see everything. It's funny when I talk to people from Europe and they come here and it's like, oh, in 2 hours you're in Italy, in 3 hours you're in
Yeah.
Spain. I'm like, in Australia, 8 hours and you're still in the same state.
But it's kind of like in the States as well. They driving so long and they are still not that far. I mean, in during let's say in during 2 hours, I can be in 5 or 6 huge cities.
Wow.
It's all close by here, so it's easy going here.
Oh well.
Um,
Fingers crossed I'll be coming over to Europe at some point this year and I'll get to explore all the different hubs where they're shooting verticals. So
yeah. Did you ever been in Europe so far?
not Europe. I've been to England quite a few times because my mum's from England, so all of her family's there, and I went to Turkey in 2022 actually. So before the verticals were a thing, and I realized that I might be going there for work. But my cousin was marrying a Turkish woman, so we went there and explored for a couple of weeks and
It
went to the
depends
wedding.
where in Turkey you've been, because, for example, Istanbul is half Europe, half Asia.
I went all around Istanbul and then I went to a bunch of other places in Turkey. So I suppose technically I've been in Europe.
Yeah,
Technically.
and England is in Europe as well, even if they are not a part of the EU no more.
Yes,
It's
yes.
still Europe.
I was personally, on a personal note, I was very gutted when Brexit happened because, then it was like you can only work in the UK. And anyway,
No, but it's great to see. And I mean, for example, I seen a lot of Europe because my parents always had a caravan. So in my childhood and in my youth, we traveled all over Europe. So in
wow.
total, if I count these trips and the few trips which I took a plane to the rest of the world, I guess I've been on 4 continents and 25 countries.
God damn. Ever come down to Australia?
Unfortunately not.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately not. That's the only continent, that's not, that's a continent where I never been. But no, but it's great that we have the possibility to travel all around the world. And
Yes.
especially if you have the luck to shoot maybe all around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't tell you, just being able to go to places I've been, even traveling around Australia for film work, and then going to China multiple times. I'm still in a little bit of shock at my luck and my fortune, and I hope that it continues.
Yeah, but if you have the chance to do it, you deserve it, and you don't have to disbelieve that. And we are happy that you are in the vertical space.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's really lovely to be here. And ever since I kind of got over my own personal hangups and started engaging with people, it's astounded me how warm and welcoming the whole vertical fan community is. That everyone is so lovely and so supportive. It's just incredibly heartwarming just to post something and then have a bunch of people repost it and talk about how wonderful you did in this scene. Or yeah, I again, state of gratitude and disbelief, because it's just really wonderful, the support from everyone.
Yeah, and I guess you can't find something like that in other parts of the film industry.
Mhm.
That the community and the actors and crew members are that close that we are communicating this way. I guess this is great, and we all grow together from begin on since there are verticals, and that's amazing to see, especially how you actors grow into your roles and your acting and so on.
Yeah, yeah, it's lovely, and it's lovely to be able to share that journey with everyone as well.
Yeah.
It's especially being in Australia, it can feel a little isolating from the rest of the entertainment industry. And
Yeah.
and then this sort of the technology that's sort of fairly recently become incredibly ubiquitous has just allowed everyone to be a little bit more connected, which is great for everyone, really.
Yeah, and thanks God to social media, I guess this helps you actors as well, that other directors, casting agents or casting directors, producers see you and say, okay, I want this guy. So it's not all about you have to ask for auditions. Maybe they see you and they can directly connect with you. And that's great what social media can do in this case. But I have a totally different question. Did you seen already one or another Ukrainian vertical?
I haven't seen any full Ukrainian verticals, but I have seen various, clips and episodes that have crossed my feed. And I have actually been astounded with, like we were talking about much earlier in the chat, how cinematic they are. Like you said, whether I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, but they do shoot some that oh, anyway, no matter what the language is, it might have been some other European ones that I've seen, but they're gorgeous. And I think I did actually see the one that you mentioned, the lesbian one, and
There are
fantastic.
two. It's one, it's named Chained by Her Love, and I'm Her Most Dangerous Obsession.
Dangerous Obsession. What was the one that I saw? I saw an episode of one of them. Yeah, it was great.
It,
There's
it's
so many that cross through your feed. It's hard to go like, oh, which one did I see? Which one did I?
Yeah, and I say always in Ukrainian verticals, including 9 pilot projects they released yet, they have at the moment 117 verticals out there since the beginning.
Wow.
And the beginning, they started as everywhere else in 2023, and they planning to do this year. I'm not sure. Don't be mad if I say something wrong. I'm not sure if they want to do 70 verticals this year or 150. I heard something about 150 verticals. They want to do it this year in Ukraine
Wow.
and outside of Ukraine. But I can't remember. You know, and in a certain age you get ahead like a thief. So I'm not sure about that. No, but they planning a lot. And for example, AMO Pictures shot in February in a short month 100 projects.
Wow.
They shot
Um,
not just verticals. I assume also these short dramas for YouTube, but they shot 100 projects.
did you just a little tangent, but I mentioned earlier that the differences in terms of production design quality, cinematography, story, script, everything, the difference between middle of 2023 and now, have you noticed a similar growth from Ukraine?
I would say yes. In some of the movies, you see a difference that the edit was a little bit different. But actually, since the stories are mostly so unique, you are always distracted by the story to watch this than to take care of all the rest. But at least they have always great light in these shows. The music is amazing and not too loud like in some other verticals. They don't have those stupid sound effects. Because I was talking to Bogdan, the film editor, and I said, what the hell is going on if they, for example, you hearing a cat meowing or something? I said, why are they doing it? They just try to get the attention back from the audience, and just because of these sound effects, the people will look up and watch again the story.
Yeah,
And I said, that's if you have to do something like that, you think about that your vertical is not that good in the quality. If you have to choose things like that to try to get the audience not too distracted.
exactly. I couldn't agree more, and I have seen it with some of the verticals that I've been in where I've come out. What? Where are these? Why would they put these sound effects in these edits in? But it's just you take the good with the bad. One of the funny things about the vertical world in particular is you sign on for a project, and we'll take Cinderella's Royal Secret, which I think was one of my other more popular and successful ones, one of the ones I shot in China. It was originally called Fake Princess Diaries, and I was like, Fake Princess Diaries. That's what we got, and then it got released. I didn't know that no one knew that the title had been changed to Cinderella's Royal Secret, which is it's pretty innocuous. But I remember particularly early on there were some projects early 2024 that were shot in Australia, and one that a friend of mine. Let me see if I can find the title for you because all these titles they all had something like something fairly sort of benign. Let's just see. And
Something
see,
with heiress,
yeah.
billionaire, revenge, and so on. And some titles are stupid for real.
Oh, and they're doing it just to add shock value. So you go, oh, maybe I should click on this one just to see what it
No, the
is.
title is never something why I want to watch a vertical. No, but sometimes they have great titles, and if they release the vertical, they're getting worse. Oh,
Oh wait, no, maybe it was this one. I think it was this one. Oh, I can't remember. Even this one's a little funny. Gold digging bride's fatal mistake. Oh, I can't find that. I can't find the one that there was one that a friend of mine did, but It was the title sounded incredibly inappropriate, like something you'd find in a very dark corner of the web. And
Yes, and that's a problem. I heard it in another interview, I guess, with Toby Pruitt. I'm not sure if it was with him, but since they make often titles like that for your CV, it looks sometimes really like you acted in a soft porn or something, and it's not really good for the reputation. We all know it's not like a porn, but the title could assume it.
And it's especially in the early days before the vertical industry was making as much money as it was tough to know whether to even advertise that you were a part of this community because the titles would change to sneaking into my stepsister's bedroom while the billionaire is asleep or something like that. And you'd be
A
like,
long ass
yeah,
name.
and the title is my favorites are when you don't see them so much anymore, but there was a phase sort of like the first half of 2025 where the title was almost a paragraph long and it would just explain the plot in the title. The
What?
by the billionaire who is also undercover in his own company. Will they overcome the second in command's attempt to take the company? Is this a title or a synopsis?
Oh Lord. No, crazy. No, we don't need something like that.
But there was a time where I was hoping that I would get ones that were just that long and that crazy, just because it made me very funny. One of the other things I had a goal very early on. I wanted to be the first vertical trillionaire. Sadly, that got taken away from me, but it's we move
Yeah,
on. We
I talked recently to a friend of mine from the audience in Vertical Voices, and she said she recently saw a zillionaire.
damn it. All right. I'm gonna have to figure out what's bigger than zillionaire, and then that'll be my goal.
I don't know where they all get the money from. And the funny thing is, if these actresses become pregnant, it's mostly not just one child. They get twins, triplets,
Yeah,
quadruplets, or
yeah. I think the most I've seen is what do you call it when you've got quadtuplets? Is that what you call it with four kids?
quadru quadruplets, quadruplets.
Quadruplets. I saw one. I can't remember what it's called, but I saw one with quadruplets, and I just thought, my God, that poor woman.
That's crazy. And sometimes they even have 6 or 7 kids. I
Yeah.
seen a vertical. She had 6 kids. And like it always is, he didn't recognize her. He didn't knew that he is a dad. And then they fell in love again, and she became pregnant again. And you won't believe it, she's pregnant with 7 kids. I would shoot myself if nah. You don't need a whole
Because
soccer team.
look, she's got one. I think the sort of arms race of zillionaires and octuplets and everything is still entertaining, and it's part of the the fun of this wacky industry that we're all a part of. Is that they always find new ways to surprise us. It's something that I've just after I kind of got over my sort of the hell is going on. It's just sort of a part of my enjoyment of it, of what will they throw at us next?
And all the auctions, they paying for stuff or shoes. Some shoes getting dirty. You never can pay those shoes because they cost 3 millions. What?
I
No,
like surely there are
that's
some
crazy.
$1 million shoes out there. If you're a zillionaire, what's a couple of million on some shoes?
But you know what? Shoes can maybe cost that much if they are full with diamonds and so on. So the value is getting higher, but
True.
mostly they are just normal shoes.
Well, maybe the diamonds are like under the soles or something, and that's like a smuggling situation.
Uh,
I
You scratch them. Oh no, the good
the hardwood
diamonds.
floors, the hardwood floors.
No, it's the same. I've seen a Ukrainian vertical where they drove with a really nice car through. It looks like like glass cubes, and crashed through it. And the only it was for the scene. It was okay, but I.
Right.
It's no matter if it's out of plastic or glass. I said, "Oh my God, all those scratches on the car." I see something like that, and I said, "Oh my God, you have to repaint the whole car because it's all full of scratches."
Yeah.
No, no,
Oh, God.
that's actually always funny to see some bullshit like that. But better something like that than all the violence and harassment and stuff like that. I prefer some silly stuff like that than the bad.
Yeah. It can be sort of quite confronting what you see when you see some of the more intense verticals and what they put in there. And I know they're doing it for shock value and in a marketplace where you've got so many things competing for your attention. Sadly, there is a tendency, like we talked about with the sound effects, to go for the easy win in the attention economy, which
Yeah.
is something that will trigger the amygdala. But I think that the ones that people remember and people connect with are the ones that aim to be a little better or do a little something more. Speaking of Vampire's Forbidden Kiss, we got a lot of compliments with that was such a different way of treating vampires than a lot of the
Yeah.
usual vampire verticals out there. And I was lucky enough to win an award for that myself, and I think that
Ooh,
that
congratulations.
thank you. I think that those verticals, like the heiress blacklisted her husband, those ones that take their characters in the story as sincerely as possible, they're the ones that people talk about months or years.
If I'm watching verticals, and I'm not just watching Ukrainian verticals, I'm watching verticals from all over the world. If I see something like that, I turn off because I
Mm,
don't need 30 episodes of a stupid banquet scene and all the humiliation or the violence. I don't need that. It's the same. I'm turning off verticals if I recognize after one, two episodes that I've seen the story already 20 times so
yeah,
that I'm close to speak all the lines because I've seen it too often. I always say these apps don't just need a like button for these shows, they definitely need a dislike button as well. Don't sugarcoat everything that all the shows are great just because maybe your favorite actor or actress is acting in there doesn't mean it's have to be a good show. And mostly it's not even the fault of the actors. The
and
actors, the crew members doing a good job, but the production messed up because they
yes,
choose this story, which we've seen already 20,000 times.
and it's not the fan's job to support an actor or a production company or a platform. It's the platform and the creators and the actors' jobs to provide something of value to people like yourself, the fans. And we should be aiming to provide the best quality experience we can for you, and not rely on tropes that were popular purely because people liked them in past shows. But and sadly, I know that is a thing that people will do. A banquet scene. You've got to have a banquet scene. Why have we got to have a banquet scene? Because everyone loves a banquet scene. It's not
No,
a good reason.
I can tell you most in the community don't like the banquet scenes. It's just the thinking of production teams of the investors and the companies who shooting these because they think they don't listening to what the audience want to see or what they don't want to see. They just see the data. And I don't
Yeah.
know how the views get count, even if it's maybe you see an advertisement on Instagram or Facebook and just watching this advertisement, maybe it's you can collect it as a view, which it's not true. And they should make difference if I start to watch the vertical and watch it till the end, or if I start it and stop watching it right in the middle. These numbers, how many views there are for one show, don't say a damn thing. Sorry for my language, but don't tell you a damn thing. You have to listening what the audience want to see and what they don't want to see because we are spending a lot of money There are around, I don't know how many vertical apps are there, but I heard about around 200.
I think the
And if
last number
I'm,
I
here
heard
are
was
some,
330.
oh Lord,
So,
see, even more. And I'm so happy that Ukrainian verticals are only on 7 apps officially. The other
yeah,
apps took these shows, even if it's not allowed to. But just remind, you can pay all the subscription or buy coins for all these apps. In average, you pay here for a weekly subscription in Germany between 25 and 30 euros.
wow.
And now calculate by all these apps you just said, 330. Unfortunately, the secret billionaire didn't ring my doorbell yet.
And it's it's another mark of the loyalty of these fans that they are prepared to invest so much more money into these apps and to the crew and the actors behind them, given how much more expensive they are than a traditional Netflix or Amazon subscription or something like that.
It's
It's
more expensive than Netflix or Amazon.
oh, easily 4 times the amount because you're paying weekly as
Yeah.
opposed to monthly. It's because I didn't realize until maybe mid 2025 how expensive these are and what the ecosystem of these were like. And it blew my mind. Another mark of gratitude from me as an actor for anyone who's watched my content. Thank you so much for your support because it means so much to me that you would invest so much time and money just to watch something that I've done. I'm not saying that I was the reason.
No, but for real, I always say we are investors as well.
Absolutely. And I have heard that there are some of the bigger fan accounts that are, and you're lucky enough to be working with AMO Pictures yourself, so I'm sure you're getting consulted as well. And I've heard that from other fan accounts that they are starting to the bigger ones they are starting to get asked their opinions a little bit more. Whether the
Yeah.
opinions are being taken into consideration is another thing, but the fact that they are reaching out is at least a step in the right direction.
But there are a lot of producers and or production companies and apps who want to know what the audience think about all that. And
Mm,
I think that's a big step because if they want that we are going on paying for all these subscriptions, they should hear or listen to us and please us. And
absolutely.
some companies are starting doing it. And like I said, we are still on the beginning of the whole industry, and we will see where the journey will bring us.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you're looking forward to or hoping to see in the not too distant future in the vertical space? What's your sort of something that you're hoping to see?
I would like, if we're talking, for example, about genres, I would like to see more thriller, but also comedy. Because life is hard enough. So I want to laugh. And there are already some great thriller out there. For example, on the beginning of this year, Ukraine released on Drama Pop's Love in Oblivion. And it's a great movie because it's a thriller and it could be easily played in a horizontal way as well. And as a viewer, you always were sitting on the edge of your chair and said, is he the bad one? No, she. Hold on. Is is he the bad one? No. It's still him. No. Hold on. What's going on? And it's until the end. It was so exciting to see it and so mysterious. I love that.
Wow.
And I always can repeat myself. My absolutely feel good vertical is oh my God, my husband is a callboy from Ukraine because this vertical have a length of 1.5 hours, and after 20 minutes, my cheek were hurting from all the time smiling and laughing because the
Oh
actor
wow.
did a great job. I mean, what they said, how they said it, and the lead actress is my queen of the facial expression, and he have a talent as well in facial expressions. It's so amazing. It's really good. If you are down, just watch a vertical like that, and you have to laugh. I mean, there are so many talented actors and actresses out there which are hilarious, and we need to see more of something like that.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. That's awesome. And it's good to know that they're starting to explore outside of the traditional romance stories that have dominated the space, which is good because Hollywood definitely abandoned the romance genre for a long time. So
Yeah, I mean, if there's still romance, it's great, but I don't always need a romance in there. Sometimes it would be cool to see a relationship in between the family, like parents and children or brothers. Yeah, the relationship between them. It don't always have to be a love relationship, you know? And there are some great stories out there. And sure, I love mafia movies and I love actually almost every kind of genre. It depends on the story, you know? But I guess there will be so many great possibilities in this business to get new genres in there. The apps just have to risk something. They are
mm,
afraid to risk something. And I always say, even if I don't like the pilot projects on my drama, for example, which always have a length of 7 to 12 episodes, I think it's maybe a good thing to try out a new genre. And if the fans like the story, they have to contact this app and tell them, hey, where's the rest? We want to see the rest. And as more people contacting these apps and want to see more, they consider to shoot the whole story. So why
mm,
they just don't do that? As long as they don't do it like my drama is doing it, because they show the new storyline, then they blend in what happened 5 years ago, and then they show you a totally different vertical, which we already know because it got released sometimes earlier. Just leave the rest out. Just post the few episodes, say, hey, this is a pilot project. What do you think?
yeah,
That's easy, you know? And I guess to try something like that, just risk it.
yeah, yeah.
And take
Agreed.
care more of quality, not quantity. We, from the audience, we are willing to wait a little bit for a new show. We don't need every single day 20 new shows. We can't watch them all. And
Yep.
mostly, if an app is there who's publishing so many new verticals each day, it's not quality, it's only quantity.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to step back there. And I think we should get definitely less apps. Like I said, because no one can pay for all these apps. And it seems like every single new vertical which get released is coming out on a new app. And I know everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon and get the money. But if you show the same content like everyone else, you won't make it long.
Yeah, well, it's very much we're very much in the phase I think that Hollywood was in with streaming a couple of years ago, where every man and his dog was trying to create a streaming app, and
Yeah.
Hollywood's now contracting, and the streaming apps are getting fewer, and some of the companies are consolidating, and it'll be interesting to see where that whole side of the industry goes in the future.
Yeah. We will see. But I guess there will comes a lot. If we like it, we don't know, but there will come a lot. Anthony, is there anything what you want to say to the audience?
Thank you for joining us for this chat, however long it's been now. I'm not sure. The time's flown by, but it's been a joy.
Definitely.
And just echoing my sentiments, thank you to everyone who's supported me or any of the other actors in this space. Your support and appreciation doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining me. It is a pleasure talking to you. And
Likewise.
I will forward your contact information to AMO, and we will see if they are getting in touch with you or not. Like I said, I can't promise something, but I can connect. And I guess it's much easier since you already worked for them. Maybe not in
Yes.
Ukraine, but you worked for them.
We'll see.
So we will see. Thank you so much. And I wish you a happy Easter weekend.
Likewise.
Thank you. And talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.